So you've just finished probably the video on old dog issues and or old cat issues. And you're probably thinking, oh my God, these poor cats, these poor dogs, what can we do for them? There's a lot we can do. And sometimes the things we can do are really simple. And remember, it's not about necessarily always fixing the problem. Sometimes it's just making things easier for them. So if you think about some of those problems, reduced mobility, incontinence, changes in appetite, dental disease, all vision and hearing impairment, all these things, there's some really easy things that we can do to help make their lives at home more comfortable. And these should give you some ideas. So if they don't see as well, you can use things like night lights and carpets. Night lights help bring the light level up, especially at night. So if you've got those old cats that are meowing in the middle of the night and they're not really sure where they are in the world, the night lights can help, especially if they're near a litter box or a food dish or a water dish or a bed, and they can help them navigate to those areas because they can see the difference in the shadow and they get to know that the light's there. If they're really severely impaired with their vision, cats and dogs benefit from having carpets. You can have carpets of different textures and sizes and lengths that run to different areas of the house. They're also useful if they're very firm in their grip. So if you've got large dogs that have mobility problems, they are not going to slip and slide on a tile or a hardwood floor the same way they would on a rug or a carpet. So just make sure that those carpets are like a rubber back so that they're not going to slide all over the place. As far as the small dogs, we've got some fancy steps here that you can buy apparently on Amazon or Wayfair or something. But even something simple like a footstool. Move a footstool over next to the bed, or move a box next to the couch that that dog or cat can hop up onto so that then they can make 2 short jumps instead of 1 big tall jump. So it doesn't have to be something quite as fancy as this, it could be a very simple solution. And then if they are really painful or they've got some arthritis, you can actually buy heated beds. So the one here you see plugs in and it heats up, and that cat is all curled up in it the way the cats do. What I will say about that is if you're recommending a heated bed, make sure you stress to a client that they use a proper heated bed. Don't just throw an electric blanket from Canadian Tire or Walmart or anything into an existing bed. Electric blankets are made, or the ones that are made for humans, they are designed that the human will throw it off and get out from underneath it or get off of it if it gets too hot. And some of these older patients, their circulation's poor and they will not move from them. They don't sense the heat the same way, especially because they've got the fur there, and they can get burned by electric blankets. So using a proper heated bed that's made for pets is going to be a much gentler heat and a much safer heat. So make sure that clients don't just toss an electric blanket on Fluffy's favorite spot on the couch and assume that's okay. We don't want any patients burned because that will cause further pain and causing injuries, kind of backwards to what we do. So those are mobility issues and vision issues. The last one I'll mention with that is the litter box that you see in the bottom right corner. It's got different dimensions. It's longer and wider than the average litter box. It's got a low side so the cat can just step in. If you wanted to use something like this as a bed as well, you could just line it with a bedding instead of a litter. If you've got a cat that really needs to have a covered litter box because their aim is awful and it sucks, you can have owners pick up at Canadian Tire the big tall rubber totes and have those so that you just cut the side out of it so the cat can walk in, but then it has all the other 3 sides that it can pee up against and it's not going to leak out of the box and destroy the hardwood floor or any other furniture that might be around. So there's things that can be adapted for these animals so that they can live their lives and hopefully do so a little more comfortably. If they are stiff and sore in the neck and they're not able to, maybe bend down to eat as much as they normally would, doing things like raising up the water dishes. You can see the one here on the slide shows that it's got a dish around it so that if the cat or dog is slopping all over the place, it protects the floor. It also raises it up so they don't have to crouch down or bend down as much to eat their food. And then this one also has measurements inside the bowl. I think that's brilliant. If you are trying to gauge how much water your cat or dog is drinking, having a bowl with measurements inside it like that is fantastic. You fill it up to that measurement, you look at it at the end of the day and go, hey, Fluffy ate 100 or drank 100 mils. It's awesome. So if you can find bowls like that, fabulous. So little things like that that you can do to make lives more comfortable, help owners monitor, and maybe, protect some of the damage that these pets can cause, either by slipping and sliding on hardwood floors and causing scratches, or, peeing outside the box and having bad aim. So there's lots of options. Either way, these are all accommodating for existing issues. The only way to really truly help them is get medical care and monitoring. So if they're painful, put them on pain meds. If they've got issues with their vision, see what's going on. There are veterinary ophthalmologists out there that will actually remove cataracts in dogs. It's an option. You never know. So vets will offer these things to the clients. If the clients can afford them and are willing to spend the money, then maybe they'll do them. But either way, basic physical exams, routine blood monitoring is one of the best ways to make sure we're keeping on top of these pets' needs, because they can't talk to us. We need that diagnostic tools from the exam and the blood work to tell us what's going on. So that's how we make them comfortable. And part of that is hospice and palliative care. So hospice and palliative care, if you look on the human side, is different. They have separation between hospice and palliative, but in veterinary medicine, they're often used interchangeably. So we're going to use it that way, as if they're kind of the same thing. And what's usually going on is some sort of life-limiting illness. So it could be heart disease, kidney disease, cancer, liver, even diabetes. And you might say, hey, wait a minute, diabetes isn't life-threatening. It is if it's untreated. And remember, I didn't say necessarily a life-threatening illness, but a life-limiting illness. And that means that it doesn't have to be short-term. It just means that if they were otherwise healthy, they would possibly live longer. So they can still live weeks, months, years with maybe whatever they've got going on, but at some point, the decision may have to be made that for whatever reason, they're either going to decline or withdraw some of that treatment, maybe all of that treatment. And that's not to say they've given up on the pet. That just means that for whatever reason, be it finances, the pet's current state of health, or the availability of treatment options, we're not able to aggressively treat that condition to the point that it's cured or managed. And if that's the case, then our goals shift. Our goals shift to making sure that they're comfortable and they've got a good quality of life. And that quality of life involves things like being able to interact with family members, being able to go outside and go pee or defecate, being able to eat their food and not throw it back up, being able to, hop up on the couch and stuff, and do these things. So it supports both the pet and the family, because if the pet has a good quality of life, the family is going to enjoy living with that pet more. And they may need to be advised that even though they're not going to have the same amount of time they would possibly expect with their pet, at least the time they do have is good quality. So it's supporting those physical needs that we've sort of talked about and focused on, but also that social interaction and the emotional benefits that interactions with the family come from. So they all go together, because if a pet is peeing around the house, the family members will start to resent them. They'll get angry with them. And I'm not saying they would abuse them, but maybe their interactions would be different. And they may have less affection and less quality time than they normally would. So let's sort of break this down a little bit and give you an idea of what we're going to do. So let's say an animal is painful. They've got arthritis, they're stiff, they're sore, there's pain medication. And sometimes options are limited. If you've got another problem going on, such as a kidney problem or a liver problem, maybe we don't have a lot of options when it comes to medication. So sometimes we have to add in complementary therapies. And this could be something as simple as glucosamine supplements or special joint diets. It could be something as, air quotes, radical as acupuncture and massage. So if clients are able to pursue that, those avenues are actually available. There are veterinary acupuncturists and massage therapists that work and rehab people that work on patients that either have arthritis or they have, back injuries, that sort of thing, and get them moving again and doing so to strengthen them and make them comfortable. The other thing is the eating and the drinking. So if you've got an old cat that's not eating enough, or if you've got a cat who is suffering from kidney failure, maybe they need to do subcutaneous fluids at home, that's hydration support. If you've got a dog that, for whatever reason, won't eat his food or cannot meet his calorie requirements on his own, maybe he's got a cancer that he's dealing with and he's going through chemotherapy, or they've stopped chemotherapy and now they're just sporting his nutritional needs. So maybe he's got a tube in. And owners can absolutely do some tube feeding at home once that tube is in place. So you've got tube feeding, you've got subcutaneous fluids. Those are two really basic ways of providing nutritional support. Urination, defecation, and energy level. We can't always fix their energy level, especially if it's something from fatigue, from heart disease. But if they are having problems with urination or defecation, you may have clients that are willing to learn how to express a cat's bladder or how to help a dog go to the bathroom and evacuate that colon. Maybe they need to get them into some physio exercises on a regular basis to keep their strength up. Those are all things to help build stamina and build strength so that they can, assist with those movements and they can actually do some of the things that they want to do, which is going to lead to more interactions with the family. So now, having some physio going on, maybe playing with them in different ways, mental stimulation for cats who can't groom themselves anymore because they're too stiff and sore, combing them gently, and maybe doing a bit of a waterless bath to keep their back ends clean. Cats don't like to be dirty. So if they have that scruffy look, clean them up. Help them look after themselves. And if you feel better from being cleaned up and cared for, then sometimes that helps with their comfort as well. So these are all very simple things that owners can do at home. Sometimes they need the veterinary team to help them. Sometimes they need lessons on how to be shown how to do these things. And a lot of people are surprised at what their options are. So part of your practice is going to be finding suggestions. So there will be a link on DC Connect to a Padlet, and it takes you to a website that shows you a little background, and you can put up posts. And I want to see some suggestions. Let's say you've got senior pets coming into either a clinic or a boarding facility or a shelter. What would you have in there that you could use? So think of what clinics have. They have towels, they have blankets. Boarding facilities, what might they have? What could you do in those confines within maybe a cage or a bed or a run that you could do to make a cat or a dog comfortable? How would it be different for large dogs versus small dogs versus cats? If you also had a senior pet, either if you have one now or had one in the past, what did you notice or what have you noticed about them as they've gotten older and closer to those senior years? Have they slowed down? Has their appetite changed? What did you see that maybe you didn't really realize what was going on then, but you do now? Now, the cool thing about Padlet is when you go to post it, you can add a picture of your pet. You can record an audio or a video if you like. You can link to a website. It'll even let you, if you want, create a little drawing. So you can click the draw tab and it'll open up a little canvas and you can draw something real quick and add it to your post. So feel free to post up what's there. I want to see what your ideas are and get you thinking about this, partly so that you can maybe put it into practice if you end up in one of those facilities, but also so you can think about it for your own pets and maybe the pets that you're going to encounter in your life. So have fun. I know it's not the cheeriest of topics, but it is something to address, and senior pets are awesome. I love old cats and I love old dogs. They're so amazing. And we got to do what we can to make them comfortable. So I tried to keep this short and sweet, and next week we're going to get a little darker into things about quality of life and euthanasia decisions. Sorry, guys.